What's going on? Welcome, everybody. Let me know you can hear me loud and clear. Let's get this thing on the road.
You're
Good evening, everyone.
You're good.
What's up, Jen? How are you?
Good. I hear you nice and clear, ready to hear what we got going on tonight.
I'm ready. Ready to cause some damage on this thing right here. Stella, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Glad you guys are here, locked in and rocking. Kevin, how are you, man? Good. Got my guy Ed is in the house. Special guest, special alert. What's up, bro?
What up, everyone? How are you guys?
Oh man, feeling immaculate. I think that's the word. I think that's the one that we're gonna use. Immaculate. It rolls off the tongue really nice, right? Immaculate.
Sounds fancy.
Yeah, it do. I love it. So we're gonna push this forward. We're gonna make this work. Super excited to be here rocking with everybody. Get this thing started. We're going to jump straight into the good stuff. Making sure everybody can get in. And we are all good. If you are watching from Facebook, you're watching from YouTube, you're watching straight off of the Zoom, thank you for tuning in. We are doing our weekly Tuesday night underwriting napkin Zoom. I say napkin underwriting Zoom, right? And I hope you guys got the napkins. And if this is your first time here, you're probably like, I didn't know we were literally supposed to bring napkins. I would have prepared better, but no, it's not what we're talking about. My guy Kevin got the pad and paper. I love it. We're gonna get that moving. And we also got the spreadsheet that we have been using, and it is the Napkin Underwriting spreadsheet. Call it Please Use Your Napkin. And so we'll share that with you guys in just a bit. So here's what I want to do, as we all know how this thing goes. If you are here for the first time, or you know already how the story works, I want everybody to be able to go in and first of all, change your name, right? And I'll start with myself. I want you to come in, I want you to rename yourself. And at the end of your name, I want you to put what state you're in. And I want you to put your phone number. All right, very simple. Name, state, and phone number. Now, once you do that, all right, and I hope everybody does that. We want full participation. This is straight action only type of Zoom that we're doing. So if you don't do it, I'm gonna do a scroll through in about 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna kick you out, okay? So make sure you change your name. It's so funny how all these names are being changed at the moment. This is good. So the next thing I want you to do, this is a community, right? You guys, if you were on the Zoom, if you're on the live we did earlier, connecting with the multifamily group, you guys heard us talk about community, talk about ecosystem. So if you are here, I want you to be connecting in the chat, okay? Stella, how do you change your name? Great question. I should have went over that. So if you scroll over your name, either if you're in the chat or if you are looking at the participant list, you can do the same thing. Or if you just find your face on the screen, right? And you should see 3 dots. Once you click those 3 dots, you can click on it and it'll list a bunch of options, and one of those will be rename. All right, no problem, Tracy. You are right on time, actually. You're right on time. This is just the beginning section of us getting started, making sure everybody knows what we're doing. So you change your name, and when you change your name, put your name, where you're from, and your phone number. Now, let me talk about that for a second. Why is that important? Well, if I'm in Atlanta and I have a deal in Maryland, I can reach out to anybody I see that has an MD by their name, right? So it's a way to be able to build your network, right? Listen,
your computer all good on there.
I'm giving you guys the cheat codes. This is all we're doing tonight, okay? We're gonna be giving cheat codes crazy out here. So if you're here, then you know why you came to the right Zoom. Now, what I want you guys to do in the comments, and I want you to do 3 things. I want you to put any social media contact information or email that you have, right? So if you want, you can put your, like for me, it's at this that flips, right? And I'm actually going to do it real quick. So it's at this that flips, and then I want you to also put in, or you could put your email address, a way for people to be able to get in contact with you. Then I also want you to be able to look in here and put your superpower. What are you good at? Okay. Now I don't want anybody to tell me they're not good at anything. Okay, you're good at something. Listen, if you're good at baking cookies, I want you, and that's all you can come up with, put baking cookies. And I promise you, when I have a deal and I'm ready to show it off, and I need some fresh cookies made, I know who I can call, right? We're gonna leverage everyone in here. So you want to put your contact email or social media contact. You want to also in that same post put your superpower. And then I also want you guys to put what you're looking for. All right, Nathaniel, what's up, my guy? He did it perfect, right? He got his name in there, his email, his IG, said where he's buying, got his email address. Like, this dude is serious, all right? And this is what you guys want. And now at the end of the chat, you guys want to save the chat. It's the best thing ever. Stella, were you able to change it? I don't think she's able to change it.
Eddie, how do we save the chat? I think that'd be good to make sure everyone knows how to do that too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So saving the chat works like this. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead in the chat, obviously pull the chat up. And at the bottom of the chat where you normally would type, there is a piece of paper, there's a smiley face, and then there's 3 dots. If you click the 3 dots at the top of the list that comes in, you're going to see it says save chat. Now, you may not have a list. I have a list on mine. But you see it says save chat, and that's how you want to be able to do it. All right, love it, love it. All right, got a few more people coming in, but I want to see the chat get lit up with all this contact information. I want people to be able to connect off of this. Like, this is a really big deal. This is what we love to do. We're 8 minutes in. We're like 50 people already locked in and ready to go. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. All right, now, I want to introduce our guest underwriter. He may be a guest to some of you guys, but actually he's been rocking with me for a minute now, a hot minute, right? We've been going in and out. In fact, we were just on the phone earlier, not even earlier, probably like an hour and a half or something, talking about a cool deal in Arizona that he got sent over and we're looking at, right? And so he is a true underwriter at its core. What does that mean? This is how you know if you have a true underwriter at their core. If you ask him what he's doing today, it starts with being at the computer underwriting and it ends with being at the computer underwriting. All right. And that's his superpower. Okay. So if you are in the chat, if you know you love underwriting or this is what you do, you want to make sure that you put that, hey, look, I can underwrite. I will get it in. All right. And why is that important? Well, again, if Douglas has a deal, Douglas like, yo, I got this deal. I don't really know. My superpower is rent stacks, PPTX. I'm assuming that's like PowerPoint or something. You got to let me know. Research and remodeling. I do not see underwriting on there, right? You see how we just network, we just put it all together? Now, Ed could leverage the relationship. Okay, that is PowerPoint. All right. I didn't know if that was like something crazy. I didn't want to say it, so I just wanted to double check with you. But yeah, so Ed could leverage Douglas, and Douglas will be able to leverage Edward. All right. So I want to bring my guy Edward to the stage, put him on spotlight before we get into the show for everybody. Ed, what's up, man? How you doing?
What is up, everyone? Hope everyone had good holidays, good weekend, this past weekend, and was just able to recharge, regroup. Actually, I think I'm very curious. Like, I want everyone to spend a little bit of this chat as well, or this time on the Zoom as well. Think about what goals, if you haven't yet, like think about what goals you want for the year. I think that's really important too, and I'm big on that. So If you haven't yet decided what your goals are, at least for multifamily, like think about that. Yeah, because you'll definitely realize when you meet other people who have similar goals, all of a sudden your motivation is higher. You're likely to be productive and actually accomplish those goals are going to be higher. So it's a good way to connect and network with people too, because your tasks may align or your superpowers may align, but you want to make sure your mindset does too. But definitely excited to be here with you guys. As Eddie mentioned, I spend all day in my chair and looking at numbers, but I love it. So that's another thing. Make sure you love your superpower because if you don't, you're gonna end up hating it, and then that sucks. You never want.
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure, for sure. So we got some amazing individuals in this chat. I said some, but all of you guys are, well, actually, I'll be honest, all of you guys are crazy. It is Tuesday at 8 something. Majority of you went to work, majority of you have businesses and things of that nature. And for some strange reason, you decided to, you know what, let me jump on here because I really want to, and I just let the cat out the bag. I really just want to see Eddy's face. I think he's extremely handsome, and I would love the opportunity to just watch him do anything. And I appreciate that. But we know the truth of the matter is the reason why you guys are here is because of this thing right here. Right? Let me share my screen, everybody. This is why we are here. We are here because of the community. All right, this ecosystem that we are building out, and the most amazing things that's happening that we're hearing stories about back things that people are able to work on deals together and stuff like that. So it is a great thing, but I want to make sure I show the whole entire thing for you guys to be able to take advantage of. You don't want to miss out on any of this stuff. So on Sunday nights, if you guys were with us on Sunday, we had the activation Zoom. Activation Zoom gets you ready and started off the right way for the week. That happens every Sunday at 8:30. And then we also, this past Sunday, we had special guest Vina, who was on. If you don't know who Vina is, and full name is Vina Jetty, but now she's more in a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant stage. So it's just a first name basis type of thing, okay? She's that amazing. She's on her way to over $1 billion that has happened because of her in the multifamily space. She was a guest giving out way too many gems for free. Okay, that was a free Zoom that happened, and it's going to happen again, and even better and bigger and better and bigger because you guys are gonna keep showing up, and the caliber of guests that gets to come on and speak is gonna be amazing, and you'll see. Then on Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, we have Broker Talks. If you guys were here with us yesterday, you heard my guy, Billionaire P is what I call him. And if you were on the Zoom yesterday, you know why. You've heard him on the live Zoom call talking to brokers as we encourage and show you guys exactly how to do it, what's the mindset, the mind frame over it, and actively making calls. Okay, that's why we do it in the day so we can get in contact with these brokers, talk to them, build relationships. Remember, there's two things we're looking for when you are dealing with reaching out to brokers, doing broker outreach. And unfortunately, I can't tell you what they are because that's not the Zoom. So you're going to have to make sure you tune in Mondays at 2 p.m. And then tonight, obviously, we are here. You guys know why you're here. We have the Napkin Underwriting, which typically you'll see my amazing face and you'll see one of our underwriting guests. As always, for example, this is Ed. This is like his third, fourth time. This guy is just, he's a maniac. He loves it. We have amazing guests. Look, I'm actually inviting another amazing underwriter, Victor. We call him Dr. Evil on here. He's another individual. All they do is like look at numbers all day, right? And they're teaching us how to be able to do it. So it's like a tag team type of thing. But there's plenty of individuals who will be bringing up to the stage and showing you how to be able to do the napkin underwriting. And then on top of that, how to take it to the next level of underwriting. There's about 3-4 levels of underwriting. And this is the first one, the most important. And now you got your deal. You got hype on Sunday. You figured out the game plan, the mindset, what you need. On Monday, you spoke to the broker. You got stuck in the middle of the call. We told you put it on speaker, and we spoke to the broker for you, help you finish the call out. He sent you a deal. On Tuesday night, like tonight, we'll underwrite that deal, see if it's a stud or a dud. See if you got a deal or not. And then on Wednesday, which is bi-weekly that we're going to be doing this, we got the financing Zoom with Jerry and his wife. They're going to be bringing in the debt portion to it, which is code for the money, right? How are we going to fund this thing? How do we really make this thing all work? Well, that's what they're going to be talking about, and that is on Wednesdays, bi-weekly at 7 p.m. Now, where can you get this information? It's very simple. Go to the Facebook group. You'll be able to log in for free. It's a free group, Multifamily Freedom Chasers. You'll be able to see it. And I actually see some of the most amazing individuals that makes this part of this group is here. Like I said, I saw Victor. I believe I also saw Marcel. Like it's crazy the impact that is happening. So now let's jump into this because I know you guys are like, look, let's do it. Oh, there it is right here. I thought I'd mention it. Advanced underwriting with Victor. Victor N to the G. All right, so we'll get that started. So let's get pushing. We're 15 minutes in. I want to share this with you guys so you guys can be able to get things started. Here's what we're going to do because I want to make sure we get this down pat. Give me 1 second. Make sure I give you guys the best of the best here. All right, so again, if you haven't done so, I'm leading by example. I'm taking my information and I'm putting it in the chat. And if you're new, if you just came in before we get started, make sure you change your name and put your where you're from and your phone number. All right, go to the side, click your name, rename, and put where you're from, your phone number. And when you're in the chat, I want you to put your details. All right, put your social media handles, your email address. I want you to put, what your superpower is, and then I want you to put what you're looking for, all right, and how people can be able to reach out to you. Because it's about community. It's about the ecosystem. It's about being able to connect with individuals. Look at my guy Marcel in here, telling him put the charges up. Let's go, let's go. If you guys are excited, who here is excited? Let me see. Let me see what you got. I'm gonna put the screen on everybody. Let me see who here is excited. Like I did it on purpose. I didn't play music. I didn't do anything. I want you guys to feel the energy from what we're about to be able to showcase tonight and see if you guys are ready. I love the charger, the lightning bolt. I love the plugs I've been seeing in there. It's exciting. This is gonna be really, really hype. I'm super excited and happy for you guys. I'm seeing some amazing faces. Iffy, how you doing? Good evening. Jennifer, what's going on? Jennifer is in here. She's a sweetheart, amazing individual. Her and her husband, the Bonnas. Definitely make sure you connect with those guys. Those are top shelf individuals. Let's get this thing moving. All right, so on tonight, here's how we do it. We already went through the introduction. Let's talk about why napkin underwriting is so important, right? Why is the napkin underwriting the most important, in my opinion, of the whole thing, right? And the reason why I say that is because, listen, if your goal is to underwrite, let's say you want to look at 100 deals, you're aggressive. You're like, listen, I want this, okay? I really, really want this, and I'm gonna get this done, and I'm going after it, okay? And you're like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And you're going at it, you're going at it, you're going at it, okay? But you don't know what you're looking for, because to you, a good deal is something that a broker emailed you, and they said, hey, we're willing to take a discount, or new price. The previous owner, the previous seller, the previous buyer that was going to buy it back out, and so now we took a haircut on this. Are you ready? In your mind, you're like, yeah, this seems like it could be a deal, and it's not the case. That's not how it works at all. You have to be able to take it through what we call in the industry napkin underwriting, so that you can figure out, based off of the details that you need, and we'll tell you exactly what those are, if this is a valuable deal to take to the next level. All right, that's what a napkin underwriting is. The best way I can be able to give you guys some context to exactly what I mean by that, think of a napkin underwriting as like when you go to a restaurant and you see the menu and you're getting ready to eat because you're hungry. All right, like right now, I am famished. I'm doing a fast with my wife. It's probably the best and also the worst thing I can ever have done in my life. Like I'm extremely hungry, but it's okay because I'm hyped up on what we got going on tonight. And so I'm sitting at the restaurant, I see the menu, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna order this, that, and the third. I hand them the menu, and as the deal is coming out, I'm getting prepared. I pull out my napkin because I'm expecting to be able to devour this deal. I'm expecting to be able to devour the meal that's going to be placed in front of me. Now, how do I know for sure if the meal is a great deal or not? Right? How do you know if you guys ever been at the restaurant and you've seen somebody sitting with like ribs and they got their napkin right here? How do you know if the ribs is really hitting? Like, how do you know if it's like really, really good? Is the napkin gonna be clean or dirty? Right? Tell me in the chat. Is the napkin filthy by the time you get around? Right? The napkin might be filthy. Their pant leg might be filthy. Like it's just pandemic going to happen all over the place, right? That's how you know if the meal is good. Well, how do you know if your deal is good? It's by using the napkin. And that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to show you exactly how to be able to do that. Ed, do you have your napkin underwriting open, or do you want me to pull it open?
I can pull it up, but my computer's lagging a little bit. So just in case.
I got you. You can pull up the T12s and everything, and I got you. All right, so here we go. Let me show you guys what the napkin underwriting looks like. And I'm gonna leave this in the background because I want you guys to be able to see it at all times. It's just a beautiful thing. All right, so here we go. All right, so here is the napkin underwriting. And you see a title here, please use your napkin. All right, now, what we're doing with this napkin, there's key pieces of information that you need. And where can you get these key pieces of information? You get it from the broker. And when you're speaking to the broker, you let the broker know, like, hey, listen, here's what I got. And I saw the deal, I'm interested. Can you send me the T12s? Who here knows what T12s is? Let's help the chat. Let's do this as a community. I don't want to teach to you guys. I don't want Ed to be teaching to you guys. I want you guys to be learning from each other. So what we got? Trailing 12. All right, here. Trick question. What if the T12 is not available? What else could you ask for? A T3. That's right. You can ask for a T3, a T6, a T9, T7. Pick whatever number you want, but you want to get the most accurate. And the best thing is a T12. And just like Linda said, it's the expense report for the past 12 months, the trailing 12 months. Marcel said it. It's one of the most critical documents because you will actually have brokers that will send you the T12, even though they've been trying to sell this there for like the last year, which means it's not updated. So you want to make sure the T12 you're getting is the most recent updated that you can get. All right. And then you have, and it's also called a TTM, right? But it's basically what you're looking at, your profit, loss, and all those other things. All right. Now, what's the other thing that you guys think is extremely important to make sure you get when you're talking to a broker? Let me see if I got some experts in here already. Let's see. Rent rolls, baby. Rent rolls. That's basically how the money is rolling in. All right. It's basically a spreadsheet that you typically would get that they will be able to express to you how much money the property is making. Okay, what is bringing in, and et cetera. Right. So your T12s, your rent rolls, typically on the rent rolls, some brokers will also have like the rent comps. They also put what comps of the properties in the area, right? Now, the last thing that sometimes you'll have brokers send you this, and they actually will just send you this and not send you the T12s or the rent rolls. Okay, I don't like that. If a broker sends me that, I'm gonna tell them, listen, I still need you to send me the T12 and the rent rolls. Why? because what they're going to try to send you is the OM. Now, let me see if anyone here knows what the OM is. James, I'm glad you got the camera, bro. Appreciate you, man. Got to make sure we see that amazing face of yours. Haley says the OM stands for marketing scam. Yes, in layman's terms, that's exactly what it is. If we cut out the BS, right? That's what it is. It's the broker's marketing tactics, but what it stands for is offering memorandum, right? It's basically put your best foot forward. Let me pretty this thing up. You know, this is like, oh, this property is amazing. Honestly, I don't know what, like, I honestly feel like this is what brokers look like when they're typing up the OM. I think they're just like this. They're just like, I don't even know why the seller wants to sell it. If I had all the money, I would buy it myself. La, 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 which we know is BS, right? Especially if a seller is trying to sell a property in today's market. Listen, there's something there for sure. All right. So what does that mean and why do we need it? Well, OM kind of give you a generalization of some of the things that could be important to underwriting. So for example, what's in the area, right? What is as far as like populations and like this, every broker is different. Again, it's their brochure, so they can put a bunch of stuff, right? Nathan said it, buyers are liars, sellers are worse. And brokers are, I don't know, we'll just leave it at that. All right, so now we know the three main things that we need to get to start doing our underwriting. This is important because if you send a deal over and you're like, hey, I got this deal, and you just send over the email, and we're like, okay, like what do you want me to do with this? Right? I have no documents to be able to take this to the next level. So you have to get those three things. And if a broker does not want to give it to you, for example, a broker tells you, well, you got to send me proof of funds or any of that other stuff before just giving you this preliminary things, it's not a deal that's worth it. Because every broker that is professional understands and know, in order for you to be interested, you have to give me the details. I got to at least do a napkin underwriting, all right, to be able to move forward. So this spreadsheet right here is a simple spreadsheet where you can take the information off of the T12 and the OM, but really the rent rolls, and you can plug it in, and it's going to give you two main things that you want to look out for, okay? You want to look for the value add, and you also want to look for this number right here. You want to see what the actual number is. This is what they want. This is what it should be worth. All right. Now, a few key things, and I'm going to let Ed come through and just knock us over the head with all the game. A few key things. This value add only takes into consideration the rents. It only takes into consideration the rent. So the current rent that the property is in versus the current market rent of other units that would be essentially comps, right? What we call comps, comparables, okay? There may be other value adds there. So I don't want you to think like, oh, well, this didn't turn green, and so I don't think it was a deal. No, no, no. Understanding the napkin is just as important as using the napkin, okay? But it's a good indication to figure out if this is worth it. Like if you got a deal like this particular deal, I think the numbers are screwed on this, but listen, if I thought a deal that was like 18 million value, like, okay, let's talk, let's get a little deeper, right? Then here, the other thing is, in this market, we're in a very different market than we were 5 years ago, let alone last year. It's a different market, right? But as the time progresses over the next 18, 24 months, you're going to see two major things happen. The first is he or she who has cash wins, because you're going to be able to come in and be able to pay for property at a discount because sellers know that the price they could have got 6 months ago is gone and it's going to continue to drop. That's what's happening now, right? The other thing is you have the option of creative financing, right? What we call seller carry, right? So we need to know the mortgage information, which is why you see this here. Because listen, if the deal has an assumable mortgage, then that means that's less money that we need to come out of pocket to purchase the deal. We can essentially take over the deal. All my sub two people sub, right? That's a subject to. But they don't call it subject to in the multifamily space. It's called assumable mortgage. You're assuming a mortgage, and vice versa, right? You can't be saying, I'm going to assume your mortgage when you're talking about single family. Two different things, all right? And then you have what we like to call seller carry, which is owner financing. That's exactly what it is. So the person selling the property will give you the ability to pay off the full amount over time. Ed, did I say anything wrong?
No, I was actually going to ask if anyone wants if anyone has an example or a deal they would like us to run, or if you'd like us to run one that has all of the components to it. And one more thing I want to add, and you kind of mentioned sub to it, which I'm sure a lot of people here are familiar with or in it themselves. One thing that gives creative finance and seller carry and assumable loan, one beauty about all those different tactics that we all know so well is we can go past the value that any calculator will tell us. Why is that? Because we know the value of one, the equity we can build, the appreciation we can build, and we know that given all those creative and different methods, it allows us to offer more than the average buyer. If someone's getting a loan at 40% even, someone comes in 60% down, they're getting a loan at 40% and they're paying 7% interest, doesn't matter. Because if you're getting a 65% loan, but you're getting at 3.5 assumable loan, which is very possible, all of a sudden you're coming up less out of pocket, you're borrowing more money, which is good, you're leveraging more, and you're paying less monthly. Like in normal terms, it doesn't make sense. How am I borrowing more, but paying so much less than someone else who's also putting more money in the deal? But that's how knowing the different strategies and being able to use a calculator that you're familiar with and knowing really asking the right questions. Where again, Eddie mentioned on Mondays, those broker calls is not only talking to a broker just to be friends with them. You want to talk to them and ask the right questions, because those right questions will lead you to the right deal, which is for anyone who loves to spend time calling brokers or is like, hey, I'm going to start off by doing it. You want to ask the right questions because it makes the underwriting easier, but it also allows you to find the best deals out there just by asking one or two questions. So does anyone have a deal that they want to run through that they have all the information for? Is that the LoopNet one? Is that the one we want to look at?
Yeah, so this was Nathan.
Okay,
Yep.
let's see what we can do here. 11 units. Upgrades to property. Okay, let's access the financials.
Now, okay, so here's one. He said that the OM is offered, but the broker hasn't provided the T12 yet. So, Ed, what would you do in this moment? Is this still something that you would say like, yeah, we can still go with this, or what's your take?
What's the beauty about a napkin underwriting? And what's the beauty about multifamily? In single family space, you're really kind of like moving quick and you don't have a long close period. You may not have a long due diligence period. And you're offering a contract that is kind of like set in stone. Like if it's signed and you're in escrow, hey, clock's ticking. Beauty about multifamily space especially is you can send an LOI and have these back and forth conversations. You're gonna have, in my opinion, at least this is how I do it when I send an LOI, I send multiple offers. So usually I'm not getting an acceptance with my first LOI. And I want to be honest, I don't send an LOI to get an offer accepted. The first one. Because if my first offer, if I give them 3 options and they accept one of them right away, I offer too high. Personally, that's my thought process. Because I underwrite conservatively, but I also offer like that too. If I'm offering, for example, the one you sent, trying to find the price real quick, the 11 units.
It says 2.3.
Okay, so it's 2.3. I will underwrite it with everything I need at 235. Or if I underwrite at 2.3, I'll offer 2.25. Because I want to make sure that I have enough room for anything else. Heavier rehab, longer hold time, longer turnover on tenants, capital raise, if I have to give up more one or the other, debt changing, all these factors, I want to make sure I have a buffer. So they actually lower the price on this, which is nice because you see them lower the price. That's amazing. Based on the debt summary, it looks like that they do not have an assumable loan. Yeah. Cash flow. So so going back to what I was saying about all this, the beauty of multifamily is I need a T12. I need the rent roll. But if I'm doing Napkin Underwrite, I have enough data from the OM that allows me to do it. I would always just put it through the napkin, like, is it even worth pursuing anymore? Should I keep following up? And as Eddy loves to say with the napkin, it's like, if it doesn't pass the napkin at a glance and that there is an upside, then there's no reason to. Underwrite at 2.3 and offer 2.25. So I'll underwrite at 2.3, offer at 2.25, because that little bit is enough negotiation room and also allows me to be like, hey, you want that extra 0.05? Cool. Help me out with the seller carry or help me out with better terms on that. So it gives you negotiation room.
Now, I want to add something real quick, right? Like, everybody has different styles of doing multifamily. I want to make sure that people are okay with understanding that, and don't feel the pressure of like, I need to go after a 100-unit plus building. Okay, especially if you're brand new, that's going to be tough. Okay, you definitely need to make sure you are involved with a community or a network of people to do anything up into that level on the first go round. Not saying it's impossible. I'm saying, why not do a couple of push-ups first before you go fight Goliath? That's all I'm saying, right? Now, does that mean go after 11-unit type of deals? In my opinion, it depends. Are you trying to take this deal down with you and your friends, or like, a couple of people, or are you trying to raise capital and do that whole thing? Because if that's the case, you do want to go bigger, all right? The lowest I would suggest, and Ed, you can kind of second guess, and I know I got some of the big guys in here as well, big girls in here that can chime in the chat. I would suggest 40 units or more, right? If you look at it, if you're going after an 11-unit and it's a bunch of you guys, you're going to end up doing the same amount of work than you would have for a 40, 50, 60, 70 unit. It's the same thing, the same numbers, the same capital you're going to try to raise for the 11-unit is the same capital you're going to essentially go over the same process. So if that's the case, put yourself in a position where you have a better opportunity to be able to make more money to the people that is going to invest into you, right? Because when remember, guys, if you were on the live, you heard me talk about this a little bit. What we're doing here, the position that we're in, is to help the investors make money, first and foremost, because without them, you might get one deal, but you won't get any more, right? So now if this is just like, hey, it's 5 of us, we're going to try to get this and et cetera, this is a great deal, right? Do whatever it's going to make you feel comfortable. But if you're trying to do like a large scale deal, you want to be able to make sure you have, I would say at least 40 units. Jennifer, what's going on? She says, what kind of return do you underwrite to provide your private lenders or GPs on the deal? Now, this is a really good question. I'm going to let Ed answer this one because I know it's extremely layered, but you don't need this type of underwriting to do a napkin underwriting. Like what your lenders and Cove GP is willing to bring to the deal doesn't have anything to do with the underwriting. Steve is over here drawing. He really hates this house now. I didn't mean to do that, Steve. I'm just giving some advice. All right. But go ahead, Ed, if you can answer that question. I'm gonna pull up another deal that we just got here.
So actually, it's funny. I was gonna mention on this one is you have enough info in the OM to actually do the napkin underwriting, and I'll get to that after this question. When it comes to what your target is, here's a beautiful part about having a lender, having a good lender in this space. They are gonna underwrite with you. So they're gonna help you and be like, hey, this is what we need, this is what we're looking for to make sure that it pencils out. Because the multifamily space a lender will never lend on a property more than you can bring in. They're just not gonna do that. They're not gonna take that chance. So your lender is gonna essentially check your work. Now you just need to know if you should open escrow and get to the point where they do end up checking your work. So what we do like, and everyone has their own different goals, like Eddy was saying, and it does change on the property type, the class. I think that's important to mention as well. But we like to underwrite and have at least 15% cash on cash, no matter how that's done, whether it's through assumable, seller, carry, creative finance, all of the above. And they may seem like a high number, but when you do factor those in, and you do factor the amount of work and operations and how we split everything up, it makes sense. And you have to remember this as well. When you are talking bigger scale properties, 250, 200, 300 units, I'm okay personally with having a little lower number, just because the general income is just such a great number. Like you're having so much money you're playing with at that point. It's kind of crazy. So that's personally our goal, is to try to get to that 15 mark. And if we're close, okay, where is the property located? How much rehab do we need to put into it? How much capital is it? Are the numbers being ran like, okay, we're playing a little safe and we have big upside to go bigger if things go right? Then okay, we will expand a little. We will say, okay, let's get to the LOI stage. Let's go check this property out. Rehab might have been overshot and we have room. Like I was saying earlier, I underwrite more on the safe side and I offer on the safe side. So if my numbers are 1% or 2 or 3 off, I have so much wiggle room where it's like, all right, we're still good. Because at the end of the day, Eddy has said this, Eddy was mentioning this, your investors, you don't get a second shot at. I was actually on a mastermind call today, and they said, you don't get a second chance at the operations. You get one chance once you close escrow to turn this property around right and make it right by your investors. Because they're not going to just reinvest with you the next time. You're not gonna be able to just give them that money back if the operations aren't done appropriately. So you really want to make sure you have a buffer. You really want to make sure you're clear and transparent with your investors and your team's on the same page. And that's the biggest thing. Communication is everything. And making sure that you do the homework before escrow and before you acquire the property officially will save a lot of headache. Do we want to look at that one, or you want to quickly do the one that Colorado?
I want to look at this one really quick because this has 120 units.
Sure.
And we also have like all of the details. So I want to show everybody. So this, you guys should know this website. I want to say they're the top 1-2 players in the space when it comes to multifamily. You get a lot of details from here as well. And here's a property that was sent over. I'm sorry, who sent this over?
I think it was Grant.
Was it Grant? Yeah, Grant sent this one over. All right, so Grant got this deal that he's taking a look at. Here's what I like to do. And then if you can you open this up too, Ed? And then if you want, I can actually just let you share your screen to this, but I'll start this right here. So what I like to do is I come into my napkin and I first put the address in here, right? And the reason why is I want to make sure that I can remember what deal this was, right? And how to be able to work with that. So I got my address in here. All right, and then now I want to go back to it and I see 120 units. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna fill out 120 units. Perfect. All right, so now
I'm signing in right now to get to the deal room to get the docs. Once I do that, I can just relay the numbers to you as well, assuming they have it all available.
That works. That works. So then now we got occupancy rate, 89%. All right. So current occupancy is 89%. And then This is gross SF. Who knows what that is? Is that gross San Francisco? Is that what that stands for? I'm not sure. Anybody know? Help me out. Square footage. There you go. So gross square footage. Now, again, every broker is different, and they'll lay out the information differently, right? Ed, did you already pull the data up?
Just got it.
I want to actually let everybody see, you know, what the documents look like. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you show yours and share the documents, and I'll be typing it in at the same time.
Cool.
All right. So you get the, wait, hold on.
Yeah, I just need permission.
Yeah, sorry. Let me give you permission. Actually, yeah, there. All right, you should be good to go now.
So sometimes, or one of the questions was, what's the difference between gross square foot and regular? Sometimes on the OM, or they'll just list the total square footage if you have different amenities, and then sometimes they list it as rentable square footage. So those are two different things. I can't rent out the gym or the laundry room or the office, but they want to factor that in so you know how much square footage you actually have and where that's being used. So that's sometimes why they differentiate it. Usually people or agents or brokers will put just the rentable square footage. So you could kind of get the average per unit. But if not, just in case you have other amenities and stuff like that. So here's an acquisition financing that sometimes brokers like to offer this, where they give you two different financing options. These are good to know, but obviously if you're getting a new loan, you always want to go to a lender that one knows you, knows your scenario, and knows what resources you have and that you trust. Because anyone can put this together and throw it on a document and say you're good to go. But if someone doesn't know your full qualifications and how your team is looking, you don't want to waste time or be reliant on someone to close a loan that you didn't really run it by. So definitely double check that. Offering procedures, sometimes brokers will have this, just telling you what they need, the interest, the terms, property tours, offer due date, and any other details. All right, potential value creation. Upgrade unit interiors, lease washer dryer, lease additional reserve parking. So this is the how many units. So this is a good number where when you see the Napkin Underwriting, any place that says the rehab or CapEx per unit, then you just plug this in and now you know how much your cost is per unit for your rehab. And the recent capital improvements. This is really important, especially when you're talking about either large buildings or multiple buildings, because you want to know with the roof, HVAC, exterior, these are all big costs that can be big ticket items that maybe weren't the problem today, but next year all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, these costs, like this is trouble. It's not a single family roof, that's for sure. So got to be careful with that too. Upgrade units to platinum level, garner significant monthly rent premium. This is important, keep in mind, because if you're not aware that that's what the broker is referring to when they talk about the max amount you can raise rents to, you might undercut the rehab and increase the expectations of what rent could be. The platinum level premium means you're going all out, the nicest stuff, all the greatest features, and that'll get you the highest rent. But if you're underwriting one and not the other and it doesn't match, then your numbers will be off. So that's just something to be aware of as well. And these are good options to also ask them when you're talking to them. Hey, what are the rehab issues? Like if they were to keep it and not be able to sell, what would the seller want to change? Did they have plans to change and rehab? Those are good stuff to ask as well. My favorite thing ever, assumable loan, 4.3 interest. And it goes back to example we said earlier. So I'm happy they worded it like this. A loan balance of roughly 7.7 with 5 years remaining. So it's important to know what the original balance was, as well as if it's interest only or principal and interest, because that can throw off your underwriting. Also, is everyone familiar with supplemental financing? So supplemental financing is essentially we have a debt in place, it's in first position. Supplemental financing allows you to add a second loan on the property. Usually, if you're going to do that, it's recommended to go with the same lender that has the first position. So supplemental is just like, hey, you have your first loan. We're not going to change that. You're going to keep the rate. We're just going to add the second one in there. Why does a lender who has a first position like that idea? Two reasons. One, they get to lend out more money, which is never a bad thing. And secondly, they get to increase their average rate of interest on that property. So if it's 7.7 at 4.3%, and you say, hey, I'd like to get another 2.3 to increase it to 10 million, but they're going to lend it to you at 7%. So they now have 10 million in, but the rate's going to average out to a little higher than 4.3. So they're happy because they're in first and second position. It's not risky for them. So it's a good question to ask brokers too if they have supplemental lenders on multifamily with assumable debt. It's a good way to shrink that curve percentage essentially from leveraged loan to your purchase price. So these units look nice. You see the amenities they have. And also be aware, same thing with single family. They're always going to put the best pictures, the best rooms, the best units. It's not until you fly out there and get to see what the rest of the units look like that you realize the rehab budget was off. But it helps. At least you know what they did improve and if they actually, it looks like they put a little bit of time into it. And this is just convenient and good to know what the layout is. So your overview, tax info, that's helpful. And then going down to the details, school, utilities. This is important to know too. Who's paying for the utilities? So 75% RUBS essentially means the owner will pay the utilities for the water and sewer, and then the following month will charge back to the tenants 75%. So you don't have a fully paid off water and sewer bill, but you're paying off a lot more than if you had 0%, which is an area of opportunity if that was the case. But 75% is just you're coming in and you're getting a lot of that covered, which is really nice. So that's another way owners and operators value add on the bottom line. And then I'm now just looking for their rental info.
Now, do you guys see how much fluff is in this thing before you get to the rents?
So here, it's nice to just have the averages for the rents, but also you want to see how the averages compare to where your subject property is. So we know the biggest is going to be about 676. Well, actually, you have 742. So it's very mixed here. You do want to just see if there's one average down here that'll sum it all up. And again, remember, you're doing napkin. If you're a little off, a little low, a little high, you should still be close enough where it's like, okay, do I even dive deeper into this? You shouldn't be so much off on the number where if you got the exact number, it's going to change whether it's a good or bad deal. And that's kind of why we also played safe with the underwriting. So you have room in case a number came in a little high or something's changed. Remember, if you open escrow on this today, just with a assumable loan, you're not closing for 3 months. A lot can change in 3 months. So that's something to consider too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good way that shows your market, current rents, pro forma, and post upgrade. So this is, I'm happy they divided it like this because it explains exactly what I was telling you guys earlier. where current rent means this is what it is today. Like that number should match the rent roll. Your pro forma is like, okay, if we didn't do anything, we can increase rent up to pro forma. So similar like units are getting a little bit more. So you have that room for improvement. But if we're coming in and we want to pitch this to our investors and we want to make that cash on cash goal that we'd like to, this is where we want to be. We want to be on the post upgrade, because this difference is where our value add really hits. But that comes in with knowing how much it's going to cost to get there. And that's where the rehab budget came in. If I do rehab and I calculate it with this number, I'm going to be wrong. If I don't calculate rehab and say, oh, I could get this much, you're going to be way off. So these are all things to consider as well when you're looking at the OM, because the upside really comes here with that post upgrade number. So yeah, as everyone seems to be mentioning in the chat, the OM, once you look at a lot of these, you kind of know where to skip and scroll over, because it gets really redundant, especially if you're only looking at one market. At some point, you just be able to map out where all these properties are. But there is some good information, and it does help if you know where to look. So you have the market rent with the current and pro forma, and this is just showing you where they want it to go. So Eddie, you want to start plugging into Napkin? We should be able to do with this info.
Yeah, so what was the market rent? That's 16.
So current market rent, we're gonna put 1168 a unit.
Uh-huh.
And then
what-
for the unit,
And what's the market rent for the property itself?
so if we want to see the full potential of it, we'll put the market rent at 1340, because we're gonna include, I believe it's 770 ballpark for the rehab. And the rehab will put about 6450, let's say, per unit. And another thing, when you look at any pro forma or anything where a broker, like an OM, they're always going to throw in this like little 3%. So if you see anything that's projected out over a period of time, just be aware that that's where they're seeing that rent increase. And as an operator, any building you buy, you're going to be increasing rents by a certain percentage every year. Just know if you don't, that's where you'll have a big difference between an OM and how you decide to operate it. So here you can already see off the bat that their total expenses are a lot higher than 50%. When your total expenses is far greater than your NOI, your expenses are really high. That's area of opportunity. You're like, okay, is it because their rents are low? Well, no, that looks pretty close. So that's not it. So your difference is in variable expenses. Other income is a very big difference. And vacancy. So even though your market rents don't look like they're very far off, it's 4.8%. There's a lot of other factors that factor into that. So there was like a T12 with expenses around 70. Wow. That's rough. I don't know how you technically ever make money in that scenario. But that's opportunity. Some market rents are decreasing right now because of a bunch of factors. Well, it depends the market though, no? Alicia? I think there's a lot of factors when it comes to that. And if that's regarding the 3%, it's if you have a tenant in place and they're remaining, I would always increase the rent if they're extending their lease. Also with that, actually in my mentorship today with Legacy Family, which I've learned so much from. They will offer maybe 2 months, 3 months before the lease term ends for a tenant, they'll offer them an extension from when their existing lease ends, and the increase will be little less than 3%, but you know you've locked in that tenant for the long term. Obviously, you want to make sure the tenant's good and paid up to date. So you try to incentivize a tenant to stay as long as possible with you if they're good. That's what you want. Because 2 weeks vacancy, even a month vacancy, that 1% is not going to make a difference. That 1 month absolutely can. So there's a lot of different strategies on how to keep your vacancy at a good number and to keep your rent increasing at the same time. Cool. So here's the debt terms. This is the first loan. So we know this is the loan that is assumable. Eddie, is there anything else you need on the napkin underwriting that we haven't filled out yet?
I think so. I actually sent it over to you so you could plug in anything that I might have missed. I think I missed a couple of things while you scrolling. 7.99.
It's to my email.
Yeah.
Cool. So real quick, we'll talk about the assumable loan. And they throw in their supplemental loan, which I wouldn't look at yet until you kind of have the assumable loan broken down. So we know it's fixed, which is very good and very important. Now, so here they say the interest only is 48 months. Well, that doesn't help us because the origination date was more than 48 months ago. So we know that that's already out of question. So we have to calculate it as principal and interest and not just interest. Right? 4 years. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Maturity date. This is also very, very important because you want to know when this loan is due because you're responsible for the balance. So cap X, we're at 6,500. Cool. So we have a 4.21 fixed. Interest only. So the terms is 120 months. Oh, it's a view only. Okay, there we go. I was wondering why I wasn't typing. Eddie, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I said my apologies. You should have access now.
Okay, so term is 10, amortization is 30, prepayment. So with a loan like this, it's very rare you're ever gonna want to prepay, but it is good to know in case you never know opportunity happens and the rates go down. Eddie, Celinda's
Yeah.
asking for a copy.
Yeah,
So-
I'm going in the chat right now.
Perfect. No monthly mortgage. So we should be able to get that. So 6,775 by 4.21. Okay. And this was 6,500. Did we see an asking price on this?
I don't remember seeing an asking price actually.
Yeah, I don't either. Wait, didn't Grant send it to us? Do you have that?
It was in the chat. Oh, it said Ashley said like 11 million, but it was in the chat. I mean, I'm looking at the website here, and there's no asking price on it yet.
Okay, cool. So let's say 11. Actually, I think 11 might be low, to be honest. Cool. So you got everything here. Except this, which I'll edit right now. So essentially, once you have all the information here, then you'd be able to submit it. Eddie, you want me to show how I would underwrite it once I get it?
No, just what the napkin is telling us.
Okay.
Like how do we know from looking at the napkin if this is something that's a good deal? Which is interesting because we so far don't know what the asking price is.
Yeah, so it is kind of a guess at this point, but it's fine.
So there's a question Dan puts, do you need to change the market cap rate? So for the market cap rate, if you look at the spreadsheet, if you hover over the market cap rate list by city, you can click on this and it actually brings you to a website where you can type in the city and be able to see what the actual market cap is. Now, this website is a website. If you really want the most accurate information, I would tell you to reach out to a broker in that area. And I would do two things. I would reach out to the broker who's actually in charge of the deal, and I would actually reach out to the broker who is just in the area and ask them, hey, what's the market cap rate right now? Now, majority of them are going to tell you, well, the market is X, Y, and Z right now, blah, 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 blah. Say, yeah, no, listen, I get it. I totally understand that. What's the market rent in your opinion? And get that from them.
So that's where we got it from.
All right. Now, guys and girls, is this perfect? Does the information need to be like spot on, spot on? No, this is a napkin, right? But this gives us all the details and information that we need in order to be able to move forward. Jen put another website in there, if you guys could take a look at too, caprateindex.com. Also a good website you could use. But again, you want to make sure you have enough of the details information, enough of details information so that you can navigate through this. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure that we mention is the class. Is this the class A, class B, class C? And you really want to look at that based off of, there's a lot of different factors, but I would say based off of the year built is how you want to go by the class. So if you scroll over to the right-hand side, where you see it says 45% for class A and 50% for class B and class C, if you hover over that, right, you'll be able to see a little pop-up and it just shows you, it breaks down the years. Again, you can dive deeper into what kind of class. It's not that much of a difference. And we really just want to get a basis, a synopsis of, is this a solid deal or not to move forward with?
So remember what we said early on about how creative finance and assumable loan can change the equation? In this scenario, there's a good chance it does because you're getting a lower interest rate, especially if it's leveraged as much as it looks like in this scenario. What do I mean by leverage is if the purchase price is 11 million and your existing loan is 7.7, it just means what's your LTV? how much of the purchase price is there a loan for at the moment. That's really important, especially if you're looking to have to raise the difference. So you want as much lending or leverage in this case, so as much of it lend as you can. Also remember though, with an assumable loan, just because it's in place already doesn't mean the new buyer, which in this case would be us, doesn't need to qualify. So that's where sponsors come in, and that's where you want to make sure that you have those people in your network and you're making connections with people who can sponsor loans, because the sponsor loan at 7.7 million, your first bare minimum requirement is going to be at least 800,000 liquid. Just that's going to be upfront. They usually request 10%. Then you're gonna have to be at least worth 7.7. That's another factor with the assumable loan. So it's important to make sure that like when you're looking at a deal, like, hey, do we need to partner with someone who has access to someone who can qualify for this? And usually you'll have a sponsor come in and just take equity. They're not putting any capital. They're not doing anything but signing on the loan. And all they're doing, and after that, their hands are free. They're done. They're just collecting that check every month or quarter, however you're doing it. But it is so important in the equation that it's worth to give up equity to make that happen. Any questions or anything like that regarding underwriting, the OM, any of the debt info?
I'm doing my best to respond back to any questions and stuff like that that is popping up in the chat. We do have one other deal I do want to be able to underwrite real quick before we leave for today. But so here's the thing. Let's throw in a number. Let's throw in the 11 million that they asked for, right? What do we think? Is this a good deal? Is this something that we should go on?
Personally, based on the valuation, I would want to see this because of the assumable loan. But now, anytime you see an assumable loan, no matter what percentage the loan is, you always want to ask the broker, or if you direct a seller, even better, you want to ask them, are you willing to sell or carry any of the difference? Which would be the difference between these two numbers. Even if they come back and say 10% or 15%, that's a big deal when you're looking at this. And it really does help with making the numbers work and hitting the goal that we have. So you want to be able to ask that question, and then if they're willing to sell or carry, for sure send it. At that point, yes, we're on board. We're all underwriter and tell you the scenario that'll work and where we need to be with the X's and O's in order for it to work for everyone. And it becomes easier to do the more information we have. So real quick, are you assuming the seller carry interest rate would always be lower than the bank?
I was talking to you this whole time and I was on mute. I apologize. I read that whole question. I'm like,
sellers would love for them to get the same rate the bank does. And the question you ask them then is, why wouldn't I just go to the bank? So no, you're not. Sellers would like it to be, but at the end of the day, one thing I tell every seller, and this is a great thing to tell brokers who don't understand what you're trying to do or what we're trying to do with the way we offer, is I can negotiate with a seller, I can't with a bank. So if a seller wants the price they want and terms they want, we got to be on the same page. It's a back and forth until you hit that beautiful middle ground where it's a win for all. So real quick, when I plug this in,
Sorry, I was looking at other OM. It was 11 million. Maybe I'll work on this one. All right, Ashley. All right, so Linda, I got your deal pulled up. Now this is on Critzy. I'm trying to go back to see what you mentioned about the T12 and stuff. It was the T12 and everything available on the site?
She sent me the Google. Hey, she sent me the Google Docs. I can put that back in there.
Yes,
looked like
please.
it's only
That's why I thought you sent me the link. That's why I was like, aren't you the one that sent me the link?
But it looks like it's only 11 months. Are we still going to be able to use it?
It's what, 11 months?
Yeah, it looks like it only goes to the November 30th. Is that still all right, or do we have to?
Sorry, explain what you mean when you say what only goes to 11 months?
The T12.
Oh, yeah, we can still use it.
Okay.
Because basically they're just saying like, here's the last 11 months, right? We can use 11 months, we can use 12 months through. I'm just saying, make sure whenever they send you, whatever they're gonna send you, it's the most updated. So for example, if they send me the last 11 months, but that last 11 months actually stems from, it doesn't include the last 3 months, a lot could happen. A lot did happen in 3 months, right? So them not giving me a more updated version, if you're gonna send me the T12, make sure the most recent 3 months is also included in that. You just want to make sure you get the most recent as possible.
so real quick, I just want to show why it's important to have the napkin underwriting, but also why when you have different factors involved, it's important to get a little deeper into it. So when you have the assumable debt involved, you really want to make sure that you at least throw it into a little deeper underwriting because of this right here. Your cost of capital allows the property valuation to be a lot more, given that I know my cash flow is going to be a lot better because my interest rate's low. So it has potential to hit the goal you want if with the assumable loan. Now the question is always going to be, cool, are they willing to carry any of it? Now all of a sudden we might have a deal. So that's why it's important to really get as much information, know what the assumable loan and the seller carry options are, and then from there you'll be able to really know if it's, hey, are there links to this? Is it worth going deeper into? So Eddie, do you have what you need for the other one?
I do. Yep, I'm about to share it right now. All right. And this will be the last one. So if you guys have any questions as well, definitely put them in so we can make sure we get those answered. And one last thing too, like I don't want anybody to come out this thinking like, hey, you know what? I got it down pat, I'm an expert. I can do a Zoom next week. If you can do a Zoom next week, that's perfect. Come on here and help teach, right? But it takes time, right? It takes time to be able to understand this information, get it down pat, and be able to put yourself in a position to help others as we become part of this major ecosystem, this big thing that we're doing. But here's the property here. And this time we're going to switch it, Ed. So I'll look for the details and then I'll give it to you on the spreadsheet. And you can put it on the spreadsheet.
Cool.
All right, so here we go. So here's the property we got. Now this is 10 locations, 10 different locations. And I'm actually kind of curious to see if this is more so.
I think there might be a different. I think there's someone else's, which is fine.
They're all in different areas. This isn't.
I mean, I think there's someone else's deal.
Oh, did you just send me it now? Hold on, you sent me the one that's in the PDF.
The Google Drive.
No, that didn't open up.
Not working.
This one here, right? This is the one I got, the Google Drive one.
Yes, that's it.
All right. So let's open these up. What I like to do is I like to kind of like clear my stuff up because you can get confused sometimes. So I like to, and because I'm not going to use my napkin, we're going to use Ed's. Clear all this out, and I just have the deal that I'm looking at and all this information up. All right, so come in here, pull out all the details up front. Pull this bad boy out, bada bing, bada boom. All right, and then we have financials.
Okay, cool.
All right, Ed, you looking at it right now too, right?
Yeah, so it's this is Tennessee.
I believe so.
Yeah.
So here's the deal here. It's a 36 unit property. All right. It's 2 buildings, 18 units, about 5 parcels. They're saying there's 11 vacant units. 6 units are almost rent ready and would be filled at owners 600, 700 per unit when they're finished. Current tenants who are on month to month were moved up to 500. And the current rents in the area is 600 unfurnished, 700 plus with appliances. 825 to 850 for Section 8. There are currently no Section 8 tenants in this property. Okay. Current ownership brought the property deeply distressed, heavily vacant. Every dollar has gone back into maintenance and capitalization. Okay. All right. Some decent information there. Here's the different parcels. All right. They said it was about 5. I see more though. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this is their offer mail. This is great for information, but it's not really important to what we need. All right, so here we are. This is their current analysis that they want to send over to us. Now you see how everybody's different, right? Like this is not the deep down detailed all the information that we got from the other one, right? I'm playing catch up on the past zone. Should I be targeting properties that meet a specific? Yes, you should go after properties that meet a buy box. Now, if you're just getting, oh, Nathaniel already answered. Okay, perfect. All right, the asking price on this one is 1.7. Ed probably already filled all this information out, by the way. Suggested offer price is 1.6. We got, I'm trying to see. All right, monthly rent is 14,225. And landlord pays only utilities for 1 light pole, so tenants are paying everything else.
And this
Operation,
is units?
huh? I didn't hear what you said.
How many? This is 36 units?
This is 40 units.
Oh, 40?
Oh, no, sorry, 36 units, 36 units, yeah. Yeah, 36 units. They all are 2 bedroom, 1 bath.
I really like the gold one. Wait, this one is lower.
Here is the market,
With the
the profit and loss, which is essentially just, more detail. So here's where you can see, how much gross profit they make and their expenses. Now, I'll be honest, when I'm underwriting deals, this is probably my favorite document, the profit and loss, because I get to put on my detective hat, right? Like when you're underwriting, your goal is to find what looks weird here, what's strange, right? So for example, if I'm here on this line item, this is a rental income. We see it went up here in March, then went down, and then it's kind of been coasting down here. It went down to 7,000 in July, then went back up in September. So I want to find out like why they up and down, right? What happened? Is it just people, you know, their leases were due, or was there something else that was happening, right? And also another thing that I'm looking at is this is all their income. I don't see any other income that they have. Now it could be because the property is in different locations, not one central location. But that's another key thing I'm looking at. Okay, are there any other ways that this property is making money? Is it just a rent? Because if it's just a rent, then hey, we can make some money off of this. Can we get the underwriting file? Yes, we'll send it to you. Another thing that I like to pay attention to, right, is I like to pay attention to the expenses, right? The best way I can put this, guys, like for you guys to like really be paying attention to this thing and be like, all right, let me make sure if, you know, this thing is really what it is. I like to look at this like your spouse or your significant other had the credit card for a night, right? Went out and now they're like, all right, it's time to do the reports of how much money we spent this month. And now you're sitting in front of it and you're like, wait a minute, what's this? You brought shoes? Wait, what? That's how you want to look at this, right? You was hanging out with the boys and you went where? You spent how much? Oh, this is way too much. That's how you want to look at this part. That's why I love it so much, right? Because I can look and I can be able to see like, wait a second, they're spending, you know, let's see if we can find a good one. One of the easiest ones to look at is repair costs. Also, if there's like a management fees, you always want to look at management fees.
Salaries and employee wages.
Yep, salaries and employee wages. You want to look at those things because a lot of times people are paying themselves, right? Like, oh, I'm the manager. And so you're like, wait a minute, we paid your manager $500,000 this year. What managing have you been doing?
But Eddie, look at also you want to look at discrepancies. Look at April. It says $50 for the.
Yep, we just saw that.
But then look at September. You have $26.86 for the salaries and employee wages.
Yep, Jen just mentioned that too, right? So all this stuff, and these are the things, guys, that when you go back to talk to your broker, you can be like, hey, I got a list of questions for you. And then you clear your throat and then you just hit them with the work, right? Because if they want you to spend money on an investment that they're telling you, hey, this is the best of the best, come mess with us, right? Come buy from us, then you got to be willing and able to answer questions based off of what we are seeing in the documents. All right. And you got to question them. Do not, well, the saying is trust but verify, right? You're going to run into some people who literally for the first time in their career of having their multifamily unit this is the first time they're putting it on paper or on a spreadsheet. There are some that are just doing it, you know, they got used to making so much money from the unit that they're kind of just like, hey, whatever. And now they want to sell it. Now it's like, oh, damn, I gotta remember to get all my documentation together. And I know you guys are thinking like, what? I don't understand. Who would do that? That doesn't make any sense. If you own a multifamily unit, you know, hundreds of units, you're gonna make sure you're on top of your game. I hear you, but how many people here always forget how fast tax time comes around and you ain't do not a damn thing you're supposed to do, right? Like we all be like, oh my gosh, what's the extension? How do I do an extension? All right. So again, I look at the profit and loss. You know, we see some here, they had months that it was just not looking good, right? This is really, really good for you to off the bat, you can kind of see like, do I really want to look at this? Or you could be saying, this looks like an amazing opportunity. And now you're just picturing yourself with your Uncle Scrooge hat on, jumping into the money bin of all these coins around you, because you're like, look at these opportunities. That's what this is. It's opportunity, if the numbers make sense. Let me show you the rent roll, and then I'll switch it over, and I'll let Ed kind of bring this home with everything filled out on the napkin underwriting. All right, so this is like really, really cool. I love this because you can kind of tell that this was like thrown together, right? They just put their last name, here's how much rent. We don't know if they just moved in yesterday. We don't know if they were, what's happening. It's smelling and looking like opportunity. Yeah, they copy and paste everything on this bad boy. There you go. Control C, you can get this. Control P, Control C. That's the game he was playing. All right. Ed, do you have everything filled out?
Yep.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna stop sharing and let you go with it.
My other question to them was, where were the rest of the units? But that's besides the point. Also, a lot of people, at least yesterday, when we were on the broker call, were asking, oh, what if I don't know what to say? What if I don't know? Like, it's if you for first time you're calling a broker, but you can get these documents on Crexy or LoopNet, and you can just download it. And if you find stuff that you're actually just curious about, what better way to lead and hold a conversation with a broker than questioning them on the property that you're looking to offer on? For example, we saw discrepancy. We saw that in that 1 month, for whatever reason, salaries and wages were higher, almost double the next highest. Okay, you just call and ask, hey, are you interested in this? And if they ask if you're interested, you say, yeah, but that's just something I noticed and had a question on. I'm going to do more deep dive into this, and I'll get back to you if I have any other questions. Just do that to practice. Anything that's created by like a report that's inconsistent, if you're looking at it yourself, or if the owner was creating it, or a property management company, there's always going to be a chance something's incorrect. I've seen it where an extra number was typed in. Obviously, that throws the entire expense ratio off. If something's originally 10,000, now it's 100,000, everything looks negative. So that's why it's really important to get used to the T12 and what it takes. We're analyzing a bunch of deals, but it's hard finding a good one. Where do you recommend looking? Well, if you're looking for a deal, in my opinion at least, the longest process and the most your highest KPI is direct to seller, but you get the highest reward. It's really hard nowadays, especially where you want to build good relationships with brokers, and actual brokers that are the listing agent that you know and you trust, and that trust you, because I've gotten the same property emailed to me by 4 different people, and they all said they're direct to seller or they're direct to broker, and they're all from different brokers. So it's really important that you just make sure you're focusing on the brokers that are bringing value, the brokers that are actually doing deals. And I'm sorry for anyone that likes the idea of wholesaling. If wholesaling in the multifamily space is very difficult, and honestly is not that common. I have a mentor that if it's a wholesale and they're not actually a broker, they won't even look at it. They don't care. They're like, no, you have to be either someone I know, or you're actually direct to the broker and like actually directly to a person of contact. For those deals that are being wholesaled, can't they still be good deals as long as you find who the broker is? They can be, but it depends how many people are involved. I always look at it like this, and I always ask this question: how many barriers of entry am I away from the seller? Is there 1, 2 brokers involved and then a wholesaler? No, I'm just not doing that. Cut out the middleman. That's where it gets messy. If you have a relationship with a wholesaler, they send you something and you just go around them. I'm not a fan of that. But also, if a broker is bringing you a deal and you have to pay the fee for it, that's one where I'm a little more, okay, if I'm paying a fee for you to bat for me, you're going to need to do some legwork or do something that I can't. I'm licensed in California. I've done multifamily deals. as the agent and as the buyer. I don't need an agent to represent me. If any agent says pay me X fee to represent them, I'm going to say you have to have done something that I can't do myself, or done something that saves me so much time that it was worth it. Because especially with big deals like this, you have to think about it. The one I was looking at was 13 million. Yeah, about 13 million. If you take 3% of that, that's a lot. Like, that's an agent commission. Like, your year is done. I've gotten about 8 leads sent to us with a 3+ fee on them. So, Renee, it's a good point. What I do is anytime there's a 3% fee on it, I underwrite it at what price I can offer. If it's a little more than their actual ask price, I'll do it. But I tell them the fees included, figure it out. Or if they're trying to negotiate back, I say then the fee has to be lower. I told people all the time, I'm not paying 3%. It's just not happening. If that's an issue, that's fine. I'll move on. Best way for us to get involved if we're still building up to buying for ourselves. There's a few ways, and actually that's a very good question. And actually, I think someone else asked earlier what our buy box is. I don't know if Nathaniel's still here, or if Eddie, you want to type in real quick what our buy box is, so everyone, like, we have it written down.
Yeah.
So what's the best way for us to get involved if we're still building up to buying for ourselves? So why do we go around and say what our superpowers are? Because there's so many different components to a single transaction. You have the deal sourcing, the underwriting, due diligence, asset management, capital management, raising capital, sponsorship, and then you'll have property management company, and even just investor relations, private capital. Those are 2 different things in itself. So if you are great at finding deals, great at building relationships with brokers, or want to reach out to sellers directly, that's one great way to do it. Fill out the Napkin Underwriting, reach out to Eddie and myself, and I can do this in my sleep, upside down and backwards. It doesn't matter. And one thing that we like to do, because I don't think it's fair not to, is as much as I can and our schedule will align, I will show you how I underwrote your deal. I'm not just gonna do it and tell you no, because you're not learning that way. Unless you don't care. If you're just like, I don't care about underwriting, I hate this stuff. Okay, cool. I'll do it myself. I'm not gonna bore you. Don't worry, I got you. But if you have private capital, that's always important. I don't think there's an investor in the world, no matter who you are, from Grant Cardone to Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets to Ed Milet. If you tell them, hey, I know a guy that has money to invest, they're never gonna turn you away. If they do, then good for them. They have a problem I wish I didn't have, where abundance of, or I guess I wish I had. Can you type in my contact? Yeah, of course.
Now, while he's doing that, one of the other things I want to kind of mention too, right? Like, especially if you're just getting started, you want to plug into the ecosystem, right? You want to plug into what we're doing with multifamily freedom chasers, what we have going on pretty much every day of the week, because here's 2 things that's going to happen. One is you're going to become educated with the knowledge that you need right now, today, okay? The other thing is you're going to start recognizing names here. You're going to start recognizing individuals who continue to show up the same way you're showing up. And so now you're going to be networking with those individuals, and you're going to find the people who have the other abilities, the other superpowers that you don't have, and vice versa. Okay? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about this ecosystem and everything. That's what this is about. This is why we're showing up each and every week, to be able to get you guys to, come to this understanding. I want to kind of like showcase this thing one more time, so I can make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about if you came in at the end. Like, this right here is really big, right? And I can show this as much as I want because it's for free. So no one can be like, oh, they're just trying to pitch you to do. Nope, we're just trying to get you all to be great, right? We want everyone here to win. And, selfishly, the reason why we want to do that is because the more winners we have in here, the bigger deals we can all do together. Let's just be one. Okay, listen, there's 55 people on the Zoom right now. We're running 10 minutes over, so we're gonna shut this down. But it's 55 people on the Zoom. Collectively, all of us fully educated, do you know exactly how many deals we can go get? The sky's the limit. In this Zoom alone, there's debt, there's private money raisers, there's the acquisition side, there's operations side, just within this 55 group. And you literally can go from team to team, buying different properties. You can call, what I mean by that is by doing like co-JPs, like it's unlimited. All right. And what I want you guys to do is, if you're not already in the group, please go in and sign into Multifamily Freedom Chasers. Make sure you lock in with us. If you're not following me, please make sure you follow me on IG. I do my best to post as much as I possibly can on what's coming and what I'm doing next. There's all my contact information. And anyone that's here, I would tell you before we hang up and leave for the night, put in your contact information again. Put in, how to reach you, email or social media. Put in your superpower. Like for me, I said I'm a problem solver, capital raisers, connector. What I'm looking for, right? Put what you're looking for. I'm looking for multifamily storage units, and I do short-term rental, mid-term rentals. And I absolutely love affordable housing, right? So anyone who's in that same realm is going to be able to reach out and see, hey, oh, I like that, right? So I want everybody to put their information in so that people can get back in contact with you. And I'm going to tell you guys a secret here. This is the last thing. How you really going to build your network in this is at the end of the Zoom, you make sure you come in and you click the 3 buttons at the bottom of the chat and you hit save chat. And what you're going to do tomorrow is you're going to take 5 minutes out of your day and you're going to upload this chat. You're going to look through the chat and you're going to look for the part where we were talking and everybody was putting in their information. Okay? And what you want to do is, for 5 minutes, you want to write down maybe 2 or 3 people. You don't want to set a list for yourself to call 100 people in one day. You want to get 2 or 3 people, and all you want to do is reach out to them and say, hey, I was on the Zoom with you last night. I thought it was a great Zoom. I just wanted to connect with you and see how we can possibly work together. I just want to know what you got going on. I want to share with you what I got going on. And maybe we don't got anything that happens together, but we've built this relationship now, and 6 months, a year from now, I can have something fall in my lap and it's exactly what you're looking for. Imagine if somebody gave you a call, right? Roseanne, imagine if somebody gave you a call a year from now and they're like, hey, I remember because we had talked and I wrote this information down, and I know we've talked time and time after, but I got this deal in your market. Are you still buying over there? And the numbers are just solid. It's just like you get the deal. You're like, I've been looking for this deal for a year. Thank you so much. And it's just going to come from the fact that she took the time, you took the time to be able to build and connect the day after the Zoom. All right. And I suggest you guys do that all the way up until next week's Zoom. And eventually you want to get to the point where everyone here knows exactly who you are. That's how you know you are in the ecosystem. So with that being said, make sure you guys are tuned in tomorrow. We have our Zoom. You get the details to it on the Facebook page. Make sure if you guys aren't connected that you stay connected. Hit the bottom 3. I want to let Ed say something before we dip. Ed, you got anything you want to say?
Yeah, there's a question.
I'm gonna put the Facebook page in the chat as well. But go ahead, Ed.
Marcy, you asked a wonderful question and you just turned your camera on too, which I love it. And I wanted to answer that question because I think it's a very good question. So how are you keeping track of your own passive income, active income? Basically just mean all the different types of investments, right?
Yes. Well, how do you keep track of your passive income, your active income, your teams, your buyers, your private money? I mean, how do you organize that? And I know we've got this in our group, but what about all that stuff that's not in our group? That you're doing it, different.
So that's the beautiful part about this is I'm not going to tell you something that I didn't just pick up from someone else because it's been tried and tested. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't make sense. When
Right.
it comes to anything like that, I'm just going to plug in what people do, tweak it a little to make it mine, and then get the ball rolling. So you're right. It's very important to stay organized. So that's why you have so many people on a team. Like we have an amazing team and we have a lot of people. At the end of the day, if anyone says they can do this alone, they're crazy. And if you can do it alone, you have way more hours in the day than I do, and mental capacity.
I
Like
can't.
that. So if we have people on our team that are responsible for private money. I don't need to know every investor that we have on our team. I just need to know someone is making sure that they're well taken care of, that they're well updated, and that we know we're getting all of the information we need to them. They know what's going on. If we have someone on our team that does private capital and they're in charge of that, I'm like, hey, I have these people who may be interested in investing with us. Just make sure they know what we're doing. And you just follow them as you would. And you make that introduction, and now you have someone that worries about that. If I have to worry about my buddy who might be interested in investing 100,000 or underwriting deals all day, I'm not thinking about that person all the time. It's because I'm doing my job. And it just makes me better at my job and allows the private capital person who's organizing and handling that part of the business to handle that. And we work in synergy and everyone is happy. Regarding our actual deals, that's where we use different platforms. There's Monday.com, which is very good at keeping things organized. And then we have where we keep
I heard Monday.com and then I didn't hear you.
and then HubSpot is the other one.
Oh, okay.
So Monday.com, here's another good thing about plugging in with high level people who are doing deals. And like I mentioned this mentorship a lot that I'm a part of, and they gave me one of the best tools with Monday.com is they gave me a template of every step of the process and which person is doing what job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
So-
looked into that yesterday and I just thought, God, I'm just doing one more thing that I need to have, but yet.
Let
So
me
my template's
let me
already built out.
let me chime in real quick. I want to show something. All right. I'm gonna keep it extremely basic because I know what happens sometimes is like, okay, you know what? I want to do this and I want to be professional and I want to X, Y, Z and X, Y, Z. And I get it. But sometimes in doing that, we end up in a position where it's paralysis, right? Because we want to make sure it's like really, really perfect. Here's what I would tell you to do.
Okay.
You guys see my Excel spreadsheet?
Yes.
All right, watch this. Name, email, phone, social, if you want to put LinkedIn, you can. LinkedIn, I believe I spelled that wrong, but it's okay, I'm fasting. What else we got? Superpower.
Okay.
What they are looking for. Where did we meet? This right here alone is good enough.
Okay.
Right? And I'm gonna tell you why I like this, because it's so simple, it's so easy. I come in here, I do this. If you really want to be fancy, you can color code this, right? You could do whatever you want. And the other good thing about it is it's on Google spreadsheets. So anywhere I have access to Google,
You have
I
it.
can be in the car and I could just let me talk to. Now here's the other great thing about this. Let's say who here is good at raising private money? I'm actually gonna do a live example. If you're great at raising private money, or that's your thing, you're a capital raiser, say something in the chat really quick.
I have deals where I need to find private capital, so that's what I'm doing. But I'm not good at it. I am good at it, but I'm not good at it. I'm making lots of connections.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So watch this. I'm actually scrolling through the people who put their contact information. I want to get a good one. All right. Okay, here. Actually, I won't use private money. I'll use this one. So here's what I'm gonna do. I went to the chat. I grabbed Bryce's information. I'll put it right here for now. All right. We'll grab Bryce's name. Plug it in right there. His phone number.
Oh,
Plug it
nice.
in right there. Email. Plug it in right there. His superpower is talking to people. And I don't know, Bryce, are you saying that you're looking for multifamily deal sourcing, or is that part of your superpower? But let's say that's what he was looking for. All right. Where did we meet? We met at the Multifamily Freedom Chaser. Napkin Underwriting. So, right, you want all these details in here, right? And now imagine I have this filled out. Imagine you come to Zooms, you do this for a month, 2 months, 3 months. I mean, the amount of people you're having here is going to be crazy. But then when I really need to look for somebody, let's say I got a deal and I need private money, or I'm looking for a deal, I need somebody to help me with that, I can come in here and just type in, talk to people. Or I can come in here and I can type in, who's good at doing underwriting, right? And I type in underwriting, and all of a sudden, all those people start popping up. And I have their contact information, and I can call them. Even if I haven't spoken to them in months, I could say, hey, Bryce, what's going on? It's Eddie. Listen, I met you a while back. We were on a multifamily Freedom Chaser Zoom, right? Oh, bet, this is perfect. Tracy just gave me what markets are they in. Let's put that in too. Let's put that in right after this one. So I come here, come to the right. What markets are they in? Perfect, right? You can also put, like, I'll probably put, after phone. Let's put, where are they located? Why do I want to know that? Well, what if I got a deal that's in Tennessee, and Bryce happens to be in Tennessee? I can literally come in here like, oh, I got this great deal in Tennessee. Let's see who I know in Tennessee. Boom. And now I just built myself a Rolodex, and I didn't have to do anything fancy, right? A lot of times you just need to get started. You know what I mean? And so I hopefully that was help. Did that help? I know Ed gives
that absolutely helped.
You were saying something?
Yeah, that absolutely does help. And then could you also put the multifamily, and I like need to underwrite a mobile home park. Oh gosh, yeah, there's so much. But yes, that helps tremendously.
All right, good. There you go. So here's what I recommend, right? Tune in tomorrow so you can hear, like, if you do have a deal or you're trying to get a deal, you can kind of learn, what does the money aspect, like, how does that all work, right? And already be equipped with some of that information, which will help you tremendously when you start talking back to brokers. And you're like, hey, I underwrote this deal and I talked to a debt broker of mine. The numbers is not going to work because of this, that, and a third. And when I was looking at the T12, I saw there was an extra number in here. A friend of mine named Ed told me to watch out for that. And so can you help me understand what that is? Now, granted, these brokers are going to try to help you get this done, right? Because then they wouldn't take the deal on. But they're not going to work hard for you. You have to work.
Right.
Right. Like Jennifer's logo thing here, right? It says we'll work for equity, right? You got to work for it. You got to put in the work. All right. So with that being said, guys, we are about 15, 20 minutes over time. Ed, you good? Love
Absolutely. Good night.
I love you all.
Guys.
Please enjoy the rest of your evening, depending on where you're at in the world. And at the end of it, make sure you remember one thing, Ernie, God loves you, I love you, and there's plenty of money for all of us to make together. So let's go ahead and do that. Stay tuned.